Hello! Today we are going to be learning about a drawing technique where we focus on basic shapes. If I showed you this little toy and I wanted to draw this little toy, there's a lot of ways we could draw it and all of them are probably correct. Okay, I'd like you to think about how you'd go about it. Some kids might say, well, I'll do the outline first and then I'll go in and do the little details. Is that you? Some kids say, well, I'll start at the top and work my way down. It's fine. Other kids would say, well, I'd work at the bottom and then work my way up. Okay, they're all going to work. But I want to propose a technique today that maybe you're not familiar with, but it works for me. So I'm curious if you would try this with me, please. And that is looking at something that you want to draw and first identifying basic shapes. So when I look at this toy, first I think, oh my gosh, that's kind of complicated. What do I want to draw first? Do I want to draw the front view, the side view? Really, it's up to you. I'm going to stick with the side view. And if I were drawing this, I would start by looking and saying, well, there's a rectangle right there, the outline of the taxi. This whole body is another rectangle. I've got some circles. I have another shape. I'm sure there's a math term for that where it's not quite a rectangle. One of the lines is angled. Okay, and so I would identify these shapes first. There's a whole bunch of squares. And that's what I'm going to ask that we do. We are going to be moving toward a project pretty soon where we're going to be doing a clay piece. And we're going to first sketch it out. Well, it gets kind of scary to sketch something out from scratch. What I'd like you to do is look at something and look at its basic shapes. And so we're going to practice that together. Please open up your sketchbook to page 2 at this time. Okay, and we see Mickey Mouse. Now, if you want to draw all of Mickey Mouse, you go for it. We're not going to do that together. My expectation as a class is that we're going to try our best. We're going to look at basic shapes, and we're just going to tackle the head. Okay, so if you want to go above and beyond and do the body, you go for it. But the rest of us, we're just going to do the head. So as we look at this, I'd like you to see some basic shapes. Probably you're noticing that there's circles, ovals, maybe some triangles. And so we're going to start that way. Okay, would you please go down at the bottom part of your sketchbook where there's an open spot. Please get a pencil. Now I'm going to use pen so it shows up better, but I'd like you to please use pencil so that you can erase as you need to. Okay, and so we're going to start with a circle shape. I'm going to press pretty lightly. If I mess up, erase it, do it again. Not a big deal. And at any point, feel free to pause your video so that you stay with us. Okay, next, I'm going to be looking at the ears. Now the ears, at first I think, oh yeah, they're circles, but are they? They're kind of like squished circles. They're not necessarily ovals. I'd say the eyes are ovals, but I think they're a little bit squished. And then I'm going to think about, well, where are they? Okay, is it right on top of Mickey's head? No. It's just a little bit to the left. It's a squished circle a little bit to the left. So as I work on his ear, okay, here's the top of my head. I'm going to think it's a little bit to the left, and it's kind of a squished circle. Now looking at this other ear, it's also a squished circle, but it's pretty much just right to the side. So I'm going to go right over here. If I were looking at this like a clock and I said this is 12 o'clock, this is 3 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock, it's right at the 9 o'clock. So I've got another little squished circle there. Now for some triangles. Looking here, looks like this triangle starts maybe at that top ear, comes down to the middle, and then it kind of goes, it kind of comes right over into a little curve. Okay, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to start right here, go right into the middle of the head, and whoop, right past that ear. A side note as you're getting caught up, is yours going to be perfect? No. Is mine going to be perfect because I'm the teacher? No. We're just people. And this isn't even our character. So we're going to do the best we can by looking at basic shapes. That's all. We're going to mess up. As long as we don't look at it at the end and think it's like a vase of flowers or something, we're good. If it looks anything like Mickey Mouse, we're good. Okay, so now looking at the two eyes, I'd like you to think about, well, what do you think about? What are you thinking? Probably you're noticing the shape, that they're ovals. Maybe you're noticing that they kind of line up with that bottom of the triangle. Yeah. Maybe you're noticing that they're partly filled in. Are they the same size? They should be. People's eyes are usually the same size. But this is a side view. It's a different perspective. And when things get further away, they appear smaller. So I'm going to take all that information, all those observations. I'm going to go to my drawing now. So I'm going to think, okay, my eyes are going to be hitting right here along this line, right out from that dot. I know they need to be ovals, but I also know that my second one needs to be a little smaller. And then I'm going to partially fill them in. Now to the nose. As I look at it, it's more of what I would think of as an oval. But it touches one of the eyes. Which eye does it touch? The smaller one. So it touches that eye. It goes out beyond my circle and up into the cheek. So down here in my drawing, it's going to touch this eye. It's going to go out beyond my circle and up into my cheek. And then I bet you can follow the rest of the steps. We need to add a little mouth, and I always add a little bit more of a chin. We need to add a tongue, which is just a little bump. Ooh, it's starting to look pretty good. Oh, I missed something. I'll come back to it. We need the end of his nose. I missed something. You maybe caught it. There's one more of those little triangles at the top of the head. Right up here. Doot. I missed it. Oh, now he looks evil. Haha, it's evil Mickey Mouse. Does it look enough like Mickey Mouse that you can tell you were trying to draw Mickey Mouse? I bet it does. If not, would you please follow these steps again until it looks pretty darn close to Mickey Mouse. And then you can go on to the next step. Thank you for drawing with me.